Hey everybody, welcome back to the next iteration of From the Couch. I'm one of your hosts, Tony Jordan.
I'm Uche, the God.
And so fortunately we have the ability of having another one of our team members on today, Colton Snyder, who has been, came on how long ago?
October.
Yeah, October.
Yeah.
So coming up on a year. And over the course of the last year, kind of really learning the ropes of what it's like working in our industry and getting an understanding of kind of what what we do as a company, and on top of that, just the working some IT stuff along with Uche, as well as recruiting stuff with the gens and learning some of the HR aspect of things. So. Couple of things we wanted to chat with you about is the fact that you're new to this environment. Just kind of ask you some questions of like what got you interested in it, and then where do you see yourself going from there, and we'll kind of unpackage that a little bit to see kind of what are some of the next steps for you. Now, one thing I do want to caveat listeners is that there is some work that's being done in our building today, and if you hear a crazy noise of sawing of some sort, pay no attention to that. We'll throw a funny little clip in so we can pull our hair out and wait for them to stop. But you'll see how that looks and how that goes. But so Colton, first off, tell us a little bit about where you come from and kind of what got that interest in you to pursue this type of career.
So I was working at a UPS store before here, and it's just a really fast-paced environment. It's low people that work there, not many people that work there. And my dad works here too, so we were talking, and I've changed my major a couple of times in college, and I kind of was unsure of what I wanted to do, but I know that I wanted to do something in HR. And so my dad came to me, and he was like, "Hey, there's this opportunity. Would you be willing to talk to Tony about it?" So talk to you, and I really like it. When I started working here, I met Jen. She was teaching me a lot of things, and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So with Jen, I mean, she's been in industry now for I don't want to date her. We'll just say a few years. We'll just say that. And she's a wealth of knowledge of being able to leverage from the HR perspective to the security side of things, also into the recruiting piece. And that was kind of one of the big things that we had touched on early on when we first went through that interview process, was to ask you, what are some of the things that you're looking to do as far as your growth as a man, and segueing that into a academic career. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's probably, as you've worked in this environment and learned a bit about our kind of processes and procedures, I think this is where you're really starting to hone in on that want for being in that HR aspect of things. So can you kind of touch on a little bit what you feel has been some of your struggles early on into now where you're starting to see that you're starting to blaze your own trail, so to speak?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest changes for me that has kind of been a struggle, it's just kind of learning all of the ins and outs of the business itself, the job descriptions, learning all those, and just kind of how this industry works. I came from retail, so I just haven't had much experience in this industry. So that would probably be the biggest thing, is kind of going into more of a professional business environment and learning everything that goes with that before I even have my degree.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
So Uche, you're in the same office as Colton.
Yep.
Tell us a little side secrets of things that you guys have the capability of being able to grow on, because
he
both
talks
you guys
to
are
him.
younger guys. So.
He talks to himself while working. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, Colton's been great to work with. He takes helps take a load off my plate too. Helps with. I'm sure he helps with Jen a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And there we go. As you can hear the noise.
A few minutes later.
It's like a bad tooth drawer.
Yeah.
3 hours later. Many hours later.
Okay, finally. That actually may be a good one, the 2 hours later one. So, it's funny that that you say that about being able to really assist you and assist Jen. And that was one of our early on conversations as well, as talking a little bit about figuring out what it is that you want to do. And with our industry, our company specifically, there are a lot of different opportunities of being able to see what it is that you want to do. If it's working within the IT realm, that's one aspect. If it's doing recruiting, finding someone and working with alongside them. So, Gen P, for instance. And then when it comes to the HR aspect, you have that capability of being able to leverage someone that has several years of experience with Jen. And then on top of that, I mean, the working on labor categories, working on various positions that are available. So there's this massive amount of growth opportunities. And I know that we talk about this consistently, it's about training and it's about teaching. And that's, an important aspect for us as a company, is constantly trying to teach and to leverage the knowledge that we've gained over the course of our time on this planet, and then push that on to someone else. And that's really something that we've touched on multiple times on this podcast alone, is ensuring that we're making a difference for if people have questions about stuff, or if people are interested in just getting into this environment, into this field, whether it's someone that's transitioning from high school on to college and they're just looking for a summer internship. This may be a great spot for them, or something like that. And if there isn't an opening here, we have a lot of contacts throughout this community of being able to reach out to them and say, hey, we have someone that's interested in learning this business. And so I think if we can continue to leverage those relationships and generate an opportunity for others to be able to learn on their own, that will definitely build into something for those individuals to grow, and then potentially teach someone else in the future. Because for us, it's constantly a kind of pay it forward type situation. So,
quick question here. So how easy was the transition for you, coming from having no background in this field whatsoever?
So it was relatively simple. Jen tried to make it as easy as possible. Anybody who knows Jen will know how sweet and really thoughtful she is with doing that. So it honestly was a lot less stressful than the job that I had before. It's a lot slower paced in the regard of I'm not working in customer service anymore, so
not on your feet 24 hours.
Seriously.
Yeah. Right.
So it was a pretty easy transition. I've known Tony for a while, so that
I made that easy.
Yeah, it made it a little easier. And everybody's super nice and willing to help, and any question that I have is immediately answered. So it was a pretty easy transition. Yeah.
Do you see a career in this?
Certainly. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Did you have this in your head before you started working here, or did it click on when you started working with us?
Before I started working here, I thought of this as like my first like big boy job, I suppose. So it started before I started working here, I suppose. Yeah, just came in with the mindset of like, I want to do the best that I can and be here for as long as I possibly can. And
everyone has that mindset with a job.
Yeah, seriously.
That almost sounded like a speech that you hear when like someone gets traded to a new team. It's like,
give it all I got.
I'm just here for the team, and really happy for the opportunity. I know, right? No, but we definitely appreciate all the work that you're doing here, the editing that we have from our social media standpoint. I mean, you've been really in charge of that, and that's a big lift off of our shoulders as well. And something that's important is to me, and I think everyone else within the company who's in a position of leadership, is taking a product or service that we provide and making it their own. And I think that's really something that you're coming into form with, and being able to take some of the knowledge that you're learning from an HR standpoint, that's going to segue well into the future for us. So as we continue to grow as a company, there's that opportunity there as well. Can you kind of just go over, you had touched on looking at different college paths and whatnot. Do you feel that the environment you're in here at the office has helped to kind of mold which avenue you want to pursue? And then by doing so, are there like new things that you're looking to build on top of that?
Yeah, actually, when I started working here, I was a paralegal major, and I was thinking about switching to HR pretty much since my first semester of being a paralegal major. That was mostly just because doing research on paralegals and knowing what they do and actually figuring out what their work is like. But when I started working here and I started like interacting with recruiting and especially when I started doing stuff with contracts and stuff, like it just really almost like created a passion for me that was like, I know what I want to do now. Right. It was almost like a relief because I was so kind of stressed out, like most college kids are, like, what do I want to do?
Right.
And I think that working here and having this opportunity has kind of like created a linear path for me to like, now I have experience and I've been exposed to this environment.
Right.
So,
yeah, very cool. It's kind of interesting because I think that's where Uche was when he came on board as well. You know, I had this very like kind of massive gunshot thought of, hey, do you want to run our IT? And he's like, what does that mean? You know,
what is that?
And I was like, well, let's kind of hone in on that a little bit. CMMC, that's podcast 2 or 3. Check that out. And NIS 171, I said, we're looking to be compliant in all of these aspects. Can you build on that? And his response was, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then from there, that started to morph into him kind of carving out his own path of what he wants to do as far as from an IT infrastructure within the company itself. So I think that's kind of, the path that, I know that's what I want out of everyone that comes and works, at Weeghman Briggs. The ability of being able to say, hey, these are some of the things that I want to do. Here's my path on how I get there. Do you agree with it? And most of the time I'm going to say, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think that does a couple of different things. One, that segues messages from when you're out and you're talking to your colleagues outside of Weeghman and Briggs about what it is that you do, or friends about what it is that you do, and you talk about that freedom and the ability to grow and be outside of the box. I think that's something that is that kind of sparks interest within colleagues and friends.
Yeah.
And so
it's like, I want to work for that company.
Right. And our goal is to build someone up to reach the goal that they want. And I've mentioned this before on the podcast. And I do this in almost every interview that we have, or any new staff member that comes on. I ask them the question, what are your goals and dreams, and how do I help you get them? And I think that for me on my side of that coin, I look at that as I really want to see people grow and succeed.
Of course.
So we've had folks that have come in and said, I want to start my own company. Great, let me help you do that.
Yeah.
And because I wouldn't look at that individual as competition, I look at that as another group to leverage.
Yeah, like a mentorship type of situation.
Yep. And although we're a small company, we'll grow, and we can grow another small company.
Yeah.
So someone will be in our shoes at some point someday, and we'll be in a larger company's shoes at that point, sooner rather than later.
And those people you help, they'll always feel indebted to you also for helping them, get put on.
I apprate that, but I look at it more along the lines of they're going to then help other people.
Oh, yeah, that's another way to look at it. Yeah.
Pay it forward.
We don't do it for the favors, but it's a good thing to have, Hey, I put you on. Don't forget about that.
When they win that big contract.
I know, right? Hey, remember me?
we have those skills, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Colton, can you kind of touch on, what is your kind of main focus over the course of the next, 6 months when it comes to learning this business, understanding the aspect of what it is that you want to do? So HR is the path and route that you want to pursue. Can you kind of walk through like what your ideas and goals are in order to obtain that next step when it comes to having that be your platform of your career?
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that I am looking to do within the next 6 months is really buckle down on the LCATs that we have, the job descriptions. I want to get really familiar with those. As recently, as of yesterday, I've really started talking with Jen, and we're getting me going with the recruiting, like getting me like actually rolling. So that's one thing that I really, really find that I need to focus on is understanding who I'm looking for based off of the job descriptions.
Right.
Along with that, the social media, something that I've been learning and
Right.
slowly getting the hang of. So that's something that I would like to keep developing my skills on. So
Cool.
Skillshare and things like that.
Yep.
To
Keeping
touch on that
myself
recruiter
educated.
thing, man,
Yeah.
I would say from a former recruited standpoint,
Mhm.
people want to feel like they're dealing with an actual person too.
Yeah,
So you
for
know,
sure.
even if you don't, they don't want to take the job or anything, still try to have a personal, actual relationship with that person.
course.
That'll go a long way too. Oh man.
There it goes again.
A few moments later.
I was trying to talk over it, but and I was like, no, it's louder than me.
Hey, that might have been a quick one. There we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's really it.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I think, through that recruiting process, if it's over the course of the next 6 months,
Mhm.
that recruiting, the LCAT, the really understanding the openings, the positions, you're going to see hires take place. And when the people that you've recruited come on, they get hired, you're
Yeah.
going to see the entire process of what that looks like
Mhm.
from, filling out the application, the security forms,
Mhm.
and you're going to see the correspondence that happens from Jen's side too. So that will continue to build out on what it is that you're looking to do from an HR perspective. So
seriously.
not just the recruiting, you'll have that in your back pocket
Mhm.
of understanding that process, knowing the people, and then that makes an easy transition. And I think that that's probably where Jen has had a substantial amount of success, is the fact that she was doing recruiting
Yeah.
as well as HR
Mhm.
and security.
Yeah.
Here goes another one. No.
Oh.
And we're back. So, I definitely appreciate you coming on today. And
Last question.
yeah, okay, you good? You got it.
Who's your favorite coworker?
My favorite coworker.
I'm just kidding. You don't have to answer that. We all know it's me, but anyways.
Should be. You guys work together. So yeah, I definitely want to say thanks for coming on today.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I definitely appreciate the ability of being able to talk to you about getting into this environment, what it's been like for you
Mhm.
over the course of the last 9 months or so, and kind of showcasing at some struggles that you had early on, some things that you're looking to do now,
Yeah.
the opportunities that you can see yourself being exposed to,
Mhm.
and then I think what that ends up doing is that generates opportunity for listeners to say, hey, that may be something that I want to do.
Yeah.
Or I'm tired of this job that I'm working
Mhm.
in the service industry. I want to move more on to a different type of service industry.
Yeah, and that's something that before you had extended this opportunity to me, I never even thought oh, I'm in school, I'm not going to be able to get a job that's outside of a minimum wage, regular job. So it is encouraging, and I think that it would be a nice wake up call for people my age to realize hey, there are opportunities. You just it's based off of the people that you know and just the drive that you have to find those opportunities in the first place. So don't give up, and I mean, it's not just there's always an opportunity somewhere for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Never stop.
Yeah. It's kind of like that we just talked about just a moment ago. I'm just happy to be here for the opportunity.
Thank you, Washington. I promise I'll do my best.
Well, listeners, thanks again for joining us. Colton, thanks again for coming on. This is it for this episode.
From the couch.
On the couch.
Peace.